The Benson-class destroyer was constructed to be an upgrade from the Sims class, which it preceded. 30 were completed between 1938 and 1943, with the class participating in every major campaign of World War II. The Benson class, interestingly enough, was named after William Shepard Benson, who at one time commanded the USS Albany. USS LaFay of the Benson class distinguished herself in battle. First, at the Battle of Cape Esperance, she encountered the cruiser Aoba. LaFay raked her with her 5-inch guns, inflicting heavy damage. At Guadalcanal, LaFay would receive a Presidential Unit Citation for her cruise actions. Out of the darkness, the Congo-class battleship High headed for the same location as LaFay. The small destroyer missed the massive battleship by 20 feet, at which point she unleashed torpedoes and a barrage of 5-inch gunfire which raked the bridge of High, wounding Vice Admiral Hiroki Yabe and killing his chief of staff. Locked in a no-holds-barred close-quarter battle with High and 2 other Japanese destroyers, she fought until a 14-inch shell from High tore through her. LaFay's fate was sealed when a torpedo hit her in the fantail, causing an explosion shortly thereafter. LaFay, along with the Mahan-class destroyer Cushing, were both responsible for damaging High, which sank later on. Both destroyers sank with heavy loss of life. So there's a little history on the Benson, with dramatic voice for effect. Let's look at the ship in-game. The Benson is armed with either 5 or 4 5-inch guns, depending on whether or not you take a hull upgrade. As with the Mahan-class destroyer, these decisions will depend on your playstyle and what you value more. With the Benson, though, the decision to remove a deck gun is not quite that easy. The quick turning and reloading guns on the Benson are capable of providing aggravating, harassing fire. There's nothing more enraging to an enemy battleship than being chased by a destroyer unleashing an unrelenting and constant stream of shells. While they might not cause a ton of damage, their ability to cause both fires and confusions is a boon. Even with only 4 guns, the Benson retains this ability, but at a lower capacity. There is a huge benefit in upgrading the hull, though, as you can upgrade your Mark 12 torpedoes to the Mark 14. This is important because the Benson finally achieves parity for the US destroyer line. She's the first destroyer that you'll have the capability to fire torpedoes outside of your visibility range with. This means you can attack, launching a full spread of torpedoes, completely unseen. There is a downside, though, as there always is. The Mark 14 torpedoes only travel at 52 knots. That's barely 10 knots faster than most destroyers' top speed. Though the Mark 14 is nearly 4,000 max damage more powerful than the Mark 12, I found myself switching back to the Mark 12 due to its speed of 64 knots despite the range of only 6.5 kilometers. For me, as a player, it is more important to know that I'll score a hit on a faster moving target. The Mark 14 can be good against slower targets like battleships. However, unless you are close in to cruisers, they can avoid them. If you're that close, you might as well just use the Mark 12s then. The Bensons feature 2 quintuplet torpedo launchers that are omnidirectional. The ability to fire off a salvo of 10 torpedoes can be highly intimidating. However, the reload time on the Benson's torpedoes are fairly slow and you'll have to wait over a minute to be able to fire again. With a phenomenal top speed of 39 knots and a high maneuverability, you can make the most of your time while your torpedoes reload, as your guns are actually a very good offensive weapon that you can use to terrorize your opponents with. In all, the Benson lives up to its real-world counterpart. In World of Warships, she's a honey badger. Small, stubborn with wicked teeth, you can prove yourself to be a major annoyance against larger ships. Use your steady stream of fire on a battleship that's engaged with one of your own. You'll quickly land dozens of shots. Coupled with the ability to fire torpedoes out of the enemy's visibility if you choose to take that route, the Benson is the first destroyer to represent a serious threat to any ship in the game. Hope you enjoyed this look at the Benson. Stay tuned for more. Zoop out.